I've been in this situation so many times before. Someone says something negative, and I just crumble under the weight of this external opinion. I instantly allow it to get to me, to get to my very core. I'm so porous, so sensitive, and it's so easy for me to internalize this negative information that ultimately doesn't serve me. Guys, the reality is I have weak boundaries. Does it sound like you as well? If it does, maybe you're also really fed up of being in this situation. What if we build strong, clearly defined boundaries? I think that would help us pursue our intentional dream life. Being without boundaries just leaves us burnt out, exhausted, and constantly unsatisfied with our lives. Hey guys, my name is Paulina. If this is your first time on my channel, and you deserve to live a happy life. And boundaries ensure that you do exactly that. What are some of the examples of weak boundaries? First of all, you say yes to everything and everyone all the time, even when you want to say no. And so you keep running around trying to satisfy everyone, but that can just lead to you feeling exhausted and depleted all the time. Another example of having weak boundaries is when you let everyone and everything affect your mood. You feel constantly moody and anything can affect you, anything can get to you. You take everything very close to your heart. That's something I personally struggle with for sure. We simply end up crumbling under the weight of the opinions of others. I will give you a personal example. I was having a dinner with a friend, and that friend started complaining about how the job market was really tough and how it was simply impossible to find a job in this kind of situation. And I instantly started feeling so negative and hopeless. And I was not feeling this way prior to this dinner. And ultimately, upon reflecting on this topic, I realized that the experience of job search is very subjective. Some people easily find a job, some people struggle, but you can find examples of both situations. And I definitely lean towards more optimistic view that you can always find a job, you can always find an opportunity. There are so many opportunities out there, no matter the job market. But at that point, when my friend said it, I started feeling so anxious, although I had an entirely different opinion on the subject matter. So this indicates weak boundaries. You felt great before, but then someone said something and you are not feeling so great afterwards. Another sign that you might have weak boundaries is you feel like your life and your time do not belong to you. You are not in control. Other people are constantly able to plug into your schedule even when you don't want them to. You just don't feel like you have an authority over your own life and your own destiny. Another sign is if you stay in unpleasant situations because you're afraid to offend someone or you don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, so you end up hurting your own. I will give you another personal example. I went for a massage back home, and I just remember the masseuse was not being professional at all. He was just talking to me all the time during the massage, and honestly, he was not very respectful towards my body, and he was definitely violating my boundaries, and I was not enjoying the massage whatsoever. But I was still lying on that massage table for at least like 20 to 30 minutes. And in my head, I suddenly realized, hold on, I'm paying for this and I'm not having a good experience. I'm actually having quite a terrible experience. But the only reason I'm still on this table is because I'm too afraid to hurt this person's feelings and just stand up and leave. But then once I realized that, I ended up leaving. I did not want to be in that situation, and I chose to stand my grounds and protect my boundaries. Another sign that you might have weak boundaries is that you cannot sustain your attention. Other things can always grab your attention and pull you out of the flow state, and you're not protecting your sacred time. And the most telltale sign that you might have weak boundaries is that you feel burnt out, you feel exhausted, and you feel really moody. But guys, life doesn't have to be this way. We can allow it to be this way if we don't take actions, but if we end up respecting ourselves, other people will start respecting us as well. My dear friends, you simply cannot live an intentional life without having solid boundaries. Boundaries are something sacred, something that will protect you no matter what. Boundaries are invisible, but they are definitely there, and they can definitely be sensed by other people. Living without boundaries is a sure enough way to burn out. And I made multiple videos about burnouts because that's something I've experienced personally, and it's not a fun thing. If you don't have boundaries, you simply won't have enough bandwidth for your own pursuits. And that can just leave us feeling unfulfilled. It can become incredibly hard to keep your course with so many external obligations and so many mood swings. And sometimes we might even need a boundary with our own self. When that inner critic shows up, you tell him, I have boundaries with you. You should get lost. And that way you protect yourself from your worst version of yourself. Before I dive into advices that I have for you guys today, I also want to mention the good girl syndrome. I think that although both men and women can suffer from having weak boundaries, I think women are more susceptible to that. The way we are raised in patriarchy is that a good woman is really, really selfless. That's like the best word to define a good, well-intentioned woman. She is always a good girl. She's always convenient and comfortable and so pleasant to be around. And she says yes to everything. And she always puts herself on a back burner. But guys, come on. Can an exhausted, depleted woman give anything to anyone? I think when a person is well rested and has an abundance of resources, of course we have this internal drive to care about others and give to others. This is in our nature. But when we are exhausted, we simply don't have anything to give. So does being a good girl mean we have to be obedient, compliant, docile, silent, and just always pleasantly smiling? No, 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 no. I think we should rethink this premise. Okay, guys, I have 3 books for you. The Law of Attraction book, The New Rules of Marriage, and Stolen Focus. And I will extract one advice from each of these books. So this is the book I'm going to talk about first. And the advice that I have for you guys is to master the art of allowing. So what art of allowing is you allow other people to be themselves and vice versa. Other people are not trying to influence you. You have a very, very clear distinction that you are separate from anyone else, and only you, only your soul knows what you want and how to live your life in the best way possible. This is one of the most beautiful definition of boundaries that we should internalize. We let us be us, and we let everyone else be themselves. Your life, your dreams, your passions, your projects, your energy, all of this is your own, and no external entity can dictate that for you. We each have our own incredible power, and oftentimes we are so quick to dismiss it. Think about yourself. Your attention is your own. Your course of action is your own. Your energy is your own. No one is there in your head. It's only you. It will forever be you. No one can know what you're thinking or what you're focusing on or where you're channeling your energy. Everything is up to you. So when we stop trying to control others, then we also tell ourselves that we cannot be controlled either. We can be happy even if other people are doing something that we disagree with, and vice versa. We can be doing something that other people disapprove of, but we are a separate entity, so we don't care about that. Make your own decisions, create your own vision, build up your confidence to be uniquely you, all while respecting everyone else you meet on your path. I believe that we attract certain people in certain circumstances into our lives. So I believe because we are responsible for something like that, we have the power to change it, and we don't have to listen to other people. We don't have to let other people influence us in a way that we are not agreeing to. The second book I want to refer to is The New Rules of Marriage by Terrence. This book is about relationships, but it also has a very important chapter on boundaries. So the author talks about 2 types of boundaries. One is about letting things out and another is about letting things in. So I'm going to talk about the latter because I think that's more relevant to my video. Every time you hear something, you imagine this buffer. You imagine this buffer between you and the external world. And that phrase or word, it's entering the buffer. And then as it's in that buffer, you assess its validity for you. Just like every other person on planet Earth, you can have your own ideas and you can have your own version of truth. There is no one ultimate truth. There are just different perspectives on how you can live your life. So once that something is inside the buffer, you are thinking about it. You're like, is this true for me? If this is true for me, I will let it in. But if this is not true for me, I'm not letting it in. This is not the right information for me. Imagine you are a very optimistic person and you believe in like soulmates and eternal love and finding your person. And then you meet a friend who's been struggling with dating in New York City. And that friend tells you, it's impossible to find the right guy in New York. In New York, everyone just wants to have hookups and they don't want to create meaningful relationships. So that information enters your buffer and you're like, I don't think that negative opinion is true for me. I have a different perception. I have a different opinion. So no, I'm not going to let this affect my mood. This is just someone's opinion and they are separate from me. And I believe in something better, something that works for me. Guys, remember, information is subjective. Personal stories are subjective. Some people have a very hard time with something, but other people have a very easy time with something. You can find anything in this world. So you can have your own opinion. You have a voice. You have an authority on what you choose to let in through that buffer or to keep out. You should filter out what's not serving you and what doesn't meet your standards. The last book I'm going to touch on today is Stolen Focus by Johann. This is a very powerful book. It is about attention. Attention is our most valuable currency. It's our most valuable resource. We create our lives with our attention. So when we constantly let different things and different people grab our attention as if it's not our own, that does not exemplify very good boundaries. This book is great for filtering out the noise that permeates this whole world. We truly live in a very overly stimulating world. And if we don't create sufficient boundaries, we can literally suffocate. My advice is more practical, more hands-on from this book. You should take your phone and remove it from yourself for an hour or maybe even more each day. And that way you can set time aside when you're not disturbed to focus on something meaningful to you. You can enter the flow state. You can work on something creative or your passion project, or maybe your work or anything else. This little gesture will start teaching you that yes, my boundaries are important. I can have a boundary with my phone because guys, we live in a world where we do need a boundary with our own devices. Otherwise, we can get consumed by them. Mark that special period of time in your calendar and actually stick to it. Actually prioritize it. Actually prioritize yourself and build this trust with yourself that you will follow through. Do not let anyone or anything distract you from that period of time that you set aside. Guys, we build boundaries by taking small actions. And if we can succeed in building our boundaries in this very small example, we can take this practice and apply it in other areas of our lives. Don't undermine the importance of small steps. To wrap up this video, I just want to remind you that your attention is truly your most valuable resource. Your well-being is your truly most valuable resource. Respect your energy. Respect your desires. If you don't respect yourself, no one else will. If you don't respect your time, no one else will. If you don't speak up for yourself, if you don't stand your grounds, no one else will respect you. Allow yourself the beautiful experience of being yourself and don't let anyone else hijack that. I believe in all of you guys. You will succeed with building boundaries. You don't have to live your life from an exhausted point of view. And thank you so much for being here with me today. Let me know if you have any questions or comments, but I loved being here with you today and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.